Grogu, you in your costume yet? Alright, who's ready for some trick-or-treating?
I don't say no to free candy. You know, while you're out there, you should check out that abandoned insane asylum on the edge of town. They say it's haunted. Asylum, not another haunted building.
Wait, you mean the Forgotten Memories Asylum?
The very same. It was shut down 9 years ago, but recently people online have been saying they saw mannequins in there. Moving.
You believe everything you see online.
I dare you to prove me wrong.
Well, I can't take Grogu to an abandoned asylum.
So let Bones take Grogu and Luigi trick-or-treating and check out the asylum yourself.
I don't want to take them. This is the only time of year I can walk around. And besides, I already reviewed the original iOS version in 2017.
Okay, fine. I'll see for myself what's going on over there. It's the long-awaited Forgotten Memories Remastered for the Nintendo Switch. The original Forgotten Memories was an iOS game that launched in 2015. It was supposed to get a Wii U remaster, but the Switch came out only 2 years later. Since I played the original all the way through, I've been excited about the idea of playing a bigger version of it on the system like the Switch. Well, now the folks at Psychose Interactive are finally releasing said bigger version on the Switch, iOS, and Google Play just in time for Halloween. By the way, a special thanks to Psychose Interactive for sending me this game for review. Once again, you play as Inspector Rose Hawkins, who winds up in an abandoned insane asylum while searching for a missing girl. But she soon realizes the asylum has a lot more evil to it than she was expecting. Like Resident Evil or Fatal Frame games, Forgotten Memories is very story-driven, so I'll let you discover the rest of the story for yourself while you play. I just have to say that the story is really creepy and twisted, and I loved rediscovering those story elements from this spooky mystery. While some of the visuals up close still show their 2015 iPhone graphics, the rest of the visuals overall are much improved. I played with the Switch docked the whole time, so everything was very pronounced on my TV. The game makes great use of lighting and shadow to complement the abandoned asylum for a genuinely immersive and scary atmosphere. Oddly enough, I felt like the gameplay graphics looked better than the cutscenes. They all had better animation and smoother textures, and if you're wondering about the jack-o'-lantern heads and Rose's stylish witch hat, the developers decided to include a Halloween overlay for the game that activates automatically during this time of year. For you spooky Christmas fans, they also told me there will be a Christmas overlay for the game in December. Can't wait to see mannequins and Santa hats try to kill me. The sound design is improved in this Switch remaster too, as a new set of voice acting has been recorded and includes voiceover narration for found files too. I found this to be an interesting take on the found files aspect of these Resident Evil style games. It actually made me want to listen to the whole reading to hear the emotion behind the words. Maybe not for the ones with a lot of science jargon, but certainly for the journal entries. Additionally, the sound effects are hard-hitting and add to the designs of the enemies. Then the music knows just when to be fast-paced and when to be more on the eerie, unsettling side, which is a big improvement over the original version. The other big improvement I have to mention right away is just this game being on the Switch. Sure, touchscreen controls were good on iOS, but a game like this just plays better on a dedicated gaming system with a controller that has physical buttons and sticks. Everything just flows better with the controls from movement to combat and everything in between. But some touch controls are still integrated into the game when you play in handheld mode, mainly for accessing your inventory faster. This can be useful when you need to switch weapons quickly when accessing your inventory doesn't pause the game. Just because this game is inspired by Resident Evil doesn't mean you can use that same RE4 save haven. But Forgotten Memories still makes great use of its Resident Evil and Silent Hill inspirations. Floppy disks are used to save your game just like ink ribbons, so you've got to choose your moments to save carefully. That factor was annoying on iOS, but works fine on a dedicated gaming system since it's not something you usually have to put away at the drop of a hat. I particularly liked the Silent Hill-esque reality bending parts. They're really creative, and whenever they come up, you have this sense of, oh crap, what am I being led into now? These areas and the quote-unquote real world hold some creative and disturbing puzzles along with exploration for needed objects that aren't always so obvious in how they're needed. That does sometimes mean backtracking, but it's never very long backtracking. Partially because the asylum is designed in a way that you can kind of go in any order you choose for finding what you need, and the game will still respond with triggered terrifying events with those mannequins. As you no doubt figured, the mannequins are the main enemies of the game, perfect for anyone with automatonophobia. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
While they're not RE zombies or Silent Hill nurses, the game makes great use of them for atmosphere, build-up, and payoff. Most of the mannequins are placed throughout the asylum in various poses as though they're people frozen in time or toys posed by some unseen dark force, right until specific ones decide to attack you. They have a stiff walk as they advance, and they actually bleed when you shoot them. Ugh. At first, your only defense against them is a pipe for melee attacks, which means you've got to keep an eye on your stamina and take adrenaline shots to refuel that. But when you find the revolver and boomstick and learn to use bullets sparingly, stamina isn't a problem anymore. Now, weapon variety is not something this game has, but as a survival horror game, it works with you only having 3 weapons that are all about stopping power. You're just using whatever you happen to find to protect yourself, not just against mannequins, but also against these shadow ghosts and knife-wielding dolls. Back, you daughters of Chucky, back! If I had one big criticism of this game, it's only that it doesn't last long enough. Most players will probably finish this game in about 3 hours on normal mode. There are just so many great ideas here that should be expanded into more areas to walk or run for your life through, and more creepy enemies to fight. However, I do know that the developers are putting the finishing touches on some DLC that's coming out soon, including an additional game mode with another creature I probably shouldn't spoil, and a way to play the game with fixed camera angles like old school late 90s RE games. So I'd say there's a bright future ahead for this indie horror game. Forgotten Memories Remastered is available for $15 on the Switch eShop, while the iOS remaster is on the App Store for $10 if you're watching this as someone who doesn't own a Switch. Maybe it's my obvious Nintendo bias, but if you have a Switch to play this on, that's the best way to play. And at $15 with DLC coming later this year, it's a worthy purchase for horror fans on Halloween.
Oh hey, Joseph, how was the asylum?
Fun. Harmless, spooky fun. With dolls. And you know what? I want to thank you for recommending it, Salem.
You do?
Yeah. As a reward, I'm going to take you with me on my next adventure.
Is it Disneyland?
Try Norway.
Okay, what's in Norway?
The clock tower.
Well, that was my review of Forgotten Memories Remastered for the Nintendo Switch. To help me produce more videos like this, please support my Patreon page. Special thanks to my current patrons here. Remember that supporting my Patreon gets your name in the credits and access to my main videos a day early. Also be sure to watch my previous reviews of Tormented Souls for the Switch and Resident Evil Revelations for the Wii U. Happy Halloween!